Hi boys and girls, today we are going to be learning about animal habitats. And last week we learned about what animals need to eat and what kind of different types of animals eat different types of foods. But this time we are going to talk about where they live and what habitats they live in. Who can raise their hand and tell me, have you guys ever heard of a habitat? Who's heard of that word before? Yes. Yeah, it's like where somebody lives. It's like their habitat is where different types of animals live, and different types of animals have different habitats. Just like how we all live in different houses in different communities, animals live in different habitats too. So for our first activity that we're going to do today is we're going to watch kind of a longer video, but it has really cool animals in it, and it has really cool information to learn.
Our planet, a world of shifting landscapes, each with different challenges for the creatures who make it their home.
Before we start this video, I'm going to be pausing it kind of through the video so we can talk about things, and also if you guys have any questions. So make sure everybody's eyes are up on here on the board. We're going to start.
Diving deep under the water's surface, we can see how one animal has evolved for the underwater world it inhabits.
So we can already see that this animal, its habitat is underwater. It lives in the ocean.
The octopus. With its 8 arms, it propels itself along the seabed, sometimes swimming, climbing over rocks, feeling its way. The suckers covering its body are taste receptors. Imagine your body covered in hundreds of tongues. What would you taste as you moved along the ocean floor?
So how we have taste buds on our tongues, they have taste buds all over their body. So they can taste all of that stuff that they're swimming on right now. Do you think that would be very good? Probably not.
The octopus is a master of disguise. Being spineless, without a single bone in its body, means it can do this. Squeeze into a tight spot and disappear when necessary. Like the octopus in the ocean, animals and plants all over the world have special...
Now we're looking at a different habitat. These animals aren't living under the ocean, are they? They are in a different habitat. They live in a habitat that fits best for them. So octopus lives underwater because that fits best for them. But these animals live in different ones because that's where they fit best into.
Ways of surviving in the place where they live. Their habitat. Whether it's woodland, water, deserts, or mountains. A habitat holds everything a creature needs to live and grow. Food, shelter, air, and water.
And last week we kind of talked about what animals needed to survive, and everything that they need to survive is in their habitat. Isn't that so cool? So these elephants live near water because they need to drink water, but they don't live underwater because they want to be able to breathe. So everything that an animal needs is kind of always in their habitat.
Plants provide shelter and food for herbivores, who in turn are prey for predators. In one way or another, they all depend on each other, and they all have evolved and adapted to the place that they call home.
This is a pretty cool picture because it shows 3 different animals in 3 different habitats. So all animals live in what? All different habitats. Good.
Like these 3 bears. They're distantly related, but they live in very different places. From the far frozen north to lush woodlands and the sweltering heat of a bamboo forest. In the past, these bears have shared a common ancestor, but now they have all changed and adapted to their local habitat. How are they different? What has changed? What kind of environment have they adapted to? Polar bears have thick white coats, keeping them warm and making them less visible in the icy Arctic. There are very few hiding places here. These bears have the most sensitive noses of any mammal. They can smell a seal several kilometers away. They can swim for days on end in freezing water. Their fur repels water, and their forepaws are round and webbed. Great for swimming and walking on soft snow. Giant pandas spend their days searching for and eating bamboo. Only bamboo. They must eat all day and sometimes part of the night. Pandas have larger heads than other bears, with strong jaw muscles for chewing tough bamboo. They also have another unique feature. Because they spend all day stripping the leaves from branches, they have an extra thumb. Brown bears live in woodlands, where their food supply changes with the season. In the summer, there is plenty to eat. A good time to bring up cubs. There's fish to catch, berries to munch on. In the autumn, brown bears eat as much as they can, getting ready for winter, when food is hard to find and it's time to enter the den. Brown bears snooze their way through much of winter, using very little energy. 3 different bears from 3 different habitats. Can you think of some other habitats?
Okay, boys and girls, thank you for sitting so quietly during that. That was a really cool video. Raise your hand if you thought that was a cool video. That was a really cool video, and it showed us a lot of different habitats. So now, what we're going to do, this is a really fun activity, and we even get animal cookies. Okay, so I'm gonna pass around animal crackers to everybody. And while I'm passing, I want you guys to stay quiet, and I want you to look at your animal crackers. I want you to try to figure out what animals you have and think about what habitat could that animal be in. So if you find a bear, you know that it could be a polar bear or a panda bear or a brown bear. Think about what habitats you learned on the video and see if you can think of where your animal cracker, what habitat that would be in. So I'm gonna come around and pass out your animal crackers. You don't have to video this. Okay, so when I pass out your animal crackers, make sure you are trying to figure out what animals you have and check for and think about what habitats your animals will live in. I'm gonna walk around and ask you what animals you have. Okay, now since everybody has it figured out, I want you to share one animal cracker that you have in one habitat that it goes into or that it lives in. So we'll go around the room. What animal do you have? A bear? And where does your bear, what habitat does your bear live in? A forest habitat? Good. What animal do you have? A polar bear? And what habitat does your polar bear live in? A cold habitat? Good. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, while we do this, I want everybody to put their animal crackers, push them up by your name tag, and come find your polka dot spot really quick. I will let you eat them, but I want to go over your worksheet, and then while you are working on your worksheet, you can eat all your animal cookies. So push them up by your name tag so they don't go onto the floor, and then come find your polka dot spot really fast. We'll go over the worksheet, and then while you're doing your worksheet, you can eat your cookies. Okay, so this worksheet. Okay, so on this worksheet, you have 4 different animals and 4 different habitats right down here. I want you to draw a line to match each animal to its habitat. Now be careful when you're drawing a line. When you're drawing a line, this guy, he might not go right there. He might go all the way over here or here. So just because it's on top of a habitat doesn't mean you draw a line straight down. You might have to draw this giraffe to this habitat. You might draw it to this habitat. You might draw this penguin to this habitat or this habitat. So figure out which animal. So start at the giraffe. Figure out which habitat this one, the giraffe, lives in. And then draw a line straight to that habitat. So remember, it doesn't go straight down. You have to find the right habitat. Then, once you're finished with that, you have little squares here. They're pretty little, so you'll have to draw. We could probably use markers for this one so it's not so big with your crayon. So you guys can get out your skinny markers and draw. So this habitat will match to this box. This habitat will match to this box. This habitat will match to this box, and this one will match to that box. I want you to draw one more animal that you think might live in this habitat. So let's do one of them together. Let's do this desert one together. What animal do you think might live in the desert? Yeah, maybe a wolf would live in the desert. What about, let's talk about this one here. What about in the Arctic? What animal would live there? Yeah, you could draw your polar bear. Good, great, good ideas. Okay, so you guys can draw any animal that you think might live in this one. But first, you want to draw your lines to match your animal to its habitat. Remember, it's not straight down. So you might have to go over. This guy might go all the way over here. This guy might go all the way over there. So make sure you're matching it to the right habitat. While you're working on your worksheet, you may eat your cookies. Make sure we stay pretty quiet, probably a whisper or a 0 voice level. And if you have any questions, make sure you raise your hand. I'll be walking around. You guys may walk quietly, line up, everybody in front of Adler, and I'll pass out your papers, and then walk quietly to your desks.